Pansexual? What's that? Attraction to kitchenware?
Hi friends, Beck the Feminist Lawyer, and let's dive into some really juicy business. And this, you'll just have to forgive. So recently, everybody's favorite improv comic, Wayne Brady, came out on his social media as pansexual, and this has given rise to a lot of questions. And I know a lot of folks out there aren't super comfortable asking these questions, or they don't know where to go, or they don't know how to find the research. So here I am, and I'm going to decode sexuality versus gender identity. Feel free to share this with your grandpa or whoever is very confused about these things. All right, let's start with sexuality. This is all about who you are attracted to, or on the contrary, if you experience attraction at all. Now, those who do not experience attraction or who only experience attraction in very specific sets of circumstances are set to be on the asexual scale or the ACE scale. This can include things like gray sexual, demisexual. There are a lot of things on the ACE scale that I could really get into and give a long lecture about, but we're not going to get into ACE today. If you want to hear more about the ACE scale, I am very happy to do another TikTok on that. But those who are not asexual, who do experience sexual attraction for people, on a pretty regular scale, usually are somewhere in the spectrum of heterosexual, which is attraction only to the opposite sex, all the way to homosexual, which is attraction only to your sex. Within the middle of these scales is bisexuality and pansexuality, and this is where a lot of the confusion lies. Gets laid? Yep, maybe all of the above. Folks are hearing Wayne Brady come out as pansexual and they're like, what, you're just bisexual? Like, why do we need new words for these things? And there is a difference, and let me explain what it is. I'm gonna word this like a lawyer. Bisexuals are attracted to at least two genders. Okay, so usually including their own and the opposite, but perhaps not. At least two. And gender can play a role in the presence or intensity of that attraction. Pansexuals are attracted to at least two genders or two sexes, which usually include their own and the opposite and perhaps some others. And gender usually does not play a role in the presence or intensity of that attraction. So let me give you an example. A pansexual will likely tell you, well, I'm in love with the hearts, not the parts, right? So they can experience attraction to people of nearly any gender, at least more than two genders. And they, what the gender is doesn't affect whether they're attracted to that person or not. They just experience attraction to whoever they experience attraction to. People who are bisexual may have certain genders that they're less attracted to than they are to others. So they may also be attracted to all genders. There are a lot of bisexuals that are attracted to all genders, but gender plays a role in the presence or the intensity of that attraction. So if they meet person A and person A is a man, they might be less attracted to that person if person A were a woman. So like the gender is going to play a role in the presence or intensity of that attraction. I have often found a lot of women who identify as bisexual instead of pansexual have less attraction to cishet men, cishet being identifying with the gender that they were born as, and heterosexual. They have less attraction to cishet men because of like traumas that they've suffered at the hands of cishet men or just patriarchy in general. They have like issues with cishet men. Or there are bisexuals who, are not attracted to cishet women or, not attracted to, trans men. Or it's like there could be like one or two or any certain sexes that give them more likelihood to be attracted to them. Rather than less. And I've found among the bisexual community that a lot of the women in the bisexual community are more attracted to cishet women and trans people than they are to cishet men. And it's usually because of trauma and patriarchy and, past experiences and things like that. So they identify as bisexual because gender plays a role in the intensity or presence of that attraction, rather than pansexual where it wouldn't matter at all. So now that we got that out of the way, I've been using the word cis and het meaning heterosexual, but cis, let's explain what cis means. Now we're getting into gender expression. Gender is different from sex. Sex is about a set of chromosomes or body parts that you were assigned at your birth. Gender is how you express yourself, how you show up, how you experience the world. Two different things. So a cis person is a person who was assigned their gender at birth. So a person who was assigned female at birth because of whatever anatomical, hormonal reasons, and presents as a woman in the world. That is a cis woman. Do not call them biological women or natural women, because women who are not cis are also biological and they are also natural. It just makes you look like a bigot. Use the word cis or cisgendered. That works too. A trans person or transsexual person, trans, is a person whose gender is something other than what they were assigned at birth. So when a little baby is born, the doctor looks at that little baby and says, that's a boy. Okay, so that baby was assigned male at birth. But if that person grows up and starts to experience the world feeling, oh man, I'm not quite a boy. I think I'm a woman, or I think I'm not either of those things. That person would be a trans person. So that is not a person whose gender expression is something other than what they were assigned at birth. So when you hear the acronyms AMAB or AFAB, AMAB or AFAB, that means assigned male at birth or assigned female at birth. Okay, so I am an AFAB woman. I was assigned female at birth. I don't feel that I quite fit into the binary. I wouldn't completely put myself at 100% female. So, I guess I would call myself maybe non-binary, but I present in the world as a woman, so I will use cis for now until I come up with something better. So I would call myself a cis woman. I am AFAB and I present in the world as a woman, even though it's not quite right. I'll figure it out. Now, a non-binary person would be someone who was assigned some gender at birth and doesn't feel like they fit into either full female or full male. There's something in the middle. I have lots of friends that are non-binary. Some of them call themselves two-spirit, or call themselves. There are all kinds of names for non-binary people. People who do not fit into really what is a fictional gender binary. And if you do some really heavy reading on it, even geneticists and scientists are coming out and saying the gender binary is a load of crap. It's just a really oversimplistic understanding of how genetics work. And of course, there are people who are born intersex, people who are born with both testes and a womb. There are people who are born with penises who also have a uterus. So it's like, where do those people fall in? It's a huge spectrum. And I think the most important thing for all of us to take away is that we need to just let people tell us who they are. So if you come to me and you tell me that you're a man, I'm going to believe that you're a man. If you come to me and you tell me that you're, a pansexual non-binary person, I'm going to believe you. I'm going to believe that you know better who you are than I ever could. So you can be transgender and heterosexual. You can be homosexual and cis. These are two different scales, and you can fall anywhere in these two scales. They don't have to be concurrently. So if you're transgender, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gay. And if you're cisgender, it doesn't necessarily mean you're hetero. You can be any amount of these shades. And science is also showing that, especially among, people who were assigned female at birth, sexuality and gender expression tends to kind of change throughout life. Things sort of tend to wave back and forth. So all of this is like wibbly wobbly, sexy wexy stuff. So I think we just need to, again, let people tell us who they are and just respect them. And if you want to ask somebody their pronouns, I think you always should introduce yourself with your pronouns if you can. I know it's hard to remember because it's new, but say, hi, I'm Beck. I use she, her pronouns. What's your name and what are your pronouns? That can also be really helpful. And it's very important for cis people, for allies, to do that as well. Start putting your pronouns in your profile. Start putting them in your signature at work. Because then the people who are not cis will not feel like they're the only ones putting their pronouns in things. And just, respect folks. Hopefully that's helpful to those of you who had questions. Stay safe out there, friends. Keep fighting the good fight. Love is love. Y'all means all, y'all.